a few weeks ago or months ago at this point, I don't know when it was, we talked about upgrading to Windows 11 and our kind of experience with it and our journeys of it. And it's been going great. And I think I talked about that before. But I had an incident that happened today, like earlier today, where OneDrive has eaten my computer.
That's very ominous. What does that mean?
So I turned on my computer, right? I just turned it on and it did that thing it does occasionally where it's like, hey, here's all this recommended Microsoft stuff that we think you should do and the Microsoft things and whatever. Do you want to do it? And I try to click no to like as many of those things as I possibly can.
Wait, it's tea in the game because I need more context here. Was your computer totally off or was it sleeping?
It was off.
Okay. That's maybe your first mistake. I've never gotten these pop-ups that you talk about.
I had to turn my computer off because I physically transported it somewhere yesterday. So like it was disconnected from power. I'm sorry.
That's a good reason then. Okay, fine. I know people that turn their computer off like every night when they go to sleep and I'm just like, why? Anyway, you have said like these advertisements about Windows stuff before, and I think I've gotten them like once as I was upgrading to Windows 11, but I don't get these. So is it a pop-up? Is it a little thing in the bottom right-hand corner? Is it a notification? What are these things that keep popping up for you?
No, it is more than any of those. It is a full-on splash screen thing that prevents you from getting to the login screen. Or no, it's after the login screen before your desktop. It's like a new install of Windows. It's like that thing where it's like inset with a black border, you know, because it's weird, and like it has like a little skip for now button or like a next button, and it tries to tell you all of the great and wonderful things that it's going to do for you if you allow it to do all of this stupid stuff. And
do you subscribe to Office 365?
Yes.
What more can they offer you?
They want you to sync your Android phone that I don't have. They want you to...
Is this the first time you've turned on your computer since upgrading to Windows 11?
No, I think I've done it a couple of times.
Oh my God. You know, I think after this show is over, I am going to go turn off my computer and turn it back on and see if this happens, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, if you do that and it pops you up anything about OneDrive, be careful, because they do this thing where they're like, oh, it's a good idea. You should like back up your computer, and OneDrive can back up your computer. Isn't that a great idea? And I'm not opposed to that on principle. Like, it's fine. OneDrive is great, you know, as a file syncing thing. I don't know if I want to say great, but it's acceptable as a file syncing thing. It works reasonably well. However, and I had the same problem with iCloud Drive on the Mac. But it tries to offer you this thing, and I tried to click no, but they've started using all of these really dark patterns where they like make the yes button on the wrong side, or like the no button is the wrong color, or like they do all of the stuff that tries to convince you to clicking the button that they want you to click instead of the button that you want to click.
Yeah, they're called anti-patterns.
Yeah, or dark patterns. Yeah.
Dark patterns, yeah.
It's really, I really dislike it, and I'm really sad that the operating system has kind of stooped to this level. And it really disappoints me. But I was kind of going a little bit quick, and I was trying to go through this thing, and I was like, no, I don't want this OneDrive thing. Like, you know, OneDrive can sync things, but I don't want it to like take over stuff. And somehow I ended up with the button that was, oh yes, make sure to back up my documents and photos and desktop to OneDrive, which on its own, I'm actually not okay with. Like, I'm okay with those things as a concept. However, what they do is they put documents and photos and whatever folders in OneDrive. They take all of the stuff out of your actual documents folder, and then they put a little shortcut that says, go to my pictures on OneDrive, go to my documents on OneDrive. No.
Yeah. Ew.
Which is terrible, because they've now taken away all of those physical files on my computer. So like the Guild Wars add-ons that have to install themselves to your documents folder for whatever reason, they're gone, right? They're not gone, but they're in a different place, which means that like BlishHUD can't find them. And like, you know, if you had save games or something that was in your documents folder, it now moved those. And so now you have no save games. So I had to go through this exercise of, the only reason I kind of figured out I had done this is it started like sending me like error pop-ups, like OneDrive error pop-ups that are like, I can't put this file with this particular name into OneDrive, which is like, didn't have anything particular in it. Like, it didn't have anything weird. It was just like, I don't know, glacialmountain.txt or something. It was something from Guild Wars. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, it was something that was related to an add-on in Guild Wars. And it was probably like the path was too long or something like that. But it was like failing to sync. and it said, oh, I can't put a file with this file name in OneDrive. And I was like, why are you even trying to put a file with that file name in OneDrive? And it was trying to do this stuff. So what I had to do is I had to go figure that out, turn off the syncing. I forget if I turned off the syncing or not. But then I just like select all Control C out of the OneDrive folder and Control V into the, appropriate local folders. And like, I mean, this to the point, it like broke my desktop background because my desktop background was served out of the pictures folder, which it had moved all the pictures from. And Windows itself was not smart enough to figure out that the picture from the desktop had moved, even though Windows is the thing that did it. I was so angry.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I can understand breaking some things, but like it knows it moved that stuff.
I would have been much more okay with it if they had done the magic symlink thing, the magic linking behind the scenes or whatever, to make it look like it hadn't moved. I would have actually probably been fine and left it on. But I am so annoyed. Or
not even have noticed.
Right. It'd been fine. Like, sure, back my stuff up. No problem. And then when I turned on my Mac, which is what I use to record my podcasting, I turned on the Mac today and it's like OneDrive would like access to your desktop folder. And I was like, oh, no. Nope. Not two computers.
You've lost your privileges.
OneDrive, you are on a short leash.
Welcome to Pride and Accomplishment. My name is Jason.
And I'm Chris. This is episode 110.
Off the bat, I just want to apologize for probably my voice. Who knows? I don't know. I'm a little sick. It's I don't get sick. But apparently I got sick and now I can't not be sick. So here I am recording a podcast while, sore throat, not really stuffy nose. I've had COVID. It's not COVID. This is much easier. But anyway, here I am, recording for all of you through the pain and torture that is a sore throat. You're welcome.
We'll try to keep this one quick for you.
That never works.
Famous last words. We've got a little bit of news today. I know we're not a news podcast, Jason, but we've got a little bit of recent gaming-related things that have happened that I think we wanted to talk about. So we'll just dive right in. Everyone's favorite game, Cyberpunk 2077, is getting a 2.0 update.
Yeah, this game, you have to remember like the hype around this game and then the absolute utter failure that was the launch of this game. And it reminds me so distinctly of No Man's Sky on how the sentiment on this game is turning around. Now, it's a different game. It's a different style of things. It's, not online. It's a single player. But they really have turned this game around, at least in the public sentiment sort of way. I haven't personally experienced it, but I'm like enticed to try it again. Like I was enticed to try No Man's Sky again years after it came out. It's been 3 years since Cyberpunk came out. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow. I forgot that it was basically a launch title for the PS5, which was also 2020.
Yep.
Huh. Do you have it? Do you own it?
I do. I bought it on Steam, I think.
Okay. I have a physical copy on PS5. Actually, I think it was the PS4 one that got the free upgrade to PS5. So I've never played it. Like I think I put the disc in to like install it on the PS5 and then I never played it because I had heard it was so buggy and I didn't have time, or PS5 was new. There's a lot of other games to play. Well, sort of.
Well, that's interesting. You brought up PS4. So, let me quick news recap, right? So, Cyberpunk's 2077, the expansion, Phantom Liberty, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
is coming out, or it has come out. I don't know. Whenever you're hearing this, it's news, and they are doing a full expansion, but then a bunch of upgrades to the base game. So skill tree stuff and car vehicle combat stuff, but all of that affects the base game, whether you purchase the expansion or not. So that's the news. It's interesting you bring up PS4 though, because the expansion, right? The expansion part of the expansion, not the core game updates, is not available for PS4. They are just simply not releasing it for PS4.
Oh, that's a choice.
I think it's the right choice.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it is also the right choice, but I guess I've never heard of a game, an existing game on the same engine saying our expansion will not work on the previous generation without making a new game.
Yeah, they're just abandoning it. Which, I mean, again, that was part of the reason that they got so much criticism back when it came out, because, you know, they chose to release a version on PS4 that basically didn't work. So, you know, fine. I'm okay with developers, particularly 3 years after a release of a console generation, saying we're just not going to support the one before. We shouldn't have in the beginning. We're not going to say that part. But we're not. You know, the expansion is for the newest generation only. Does this news entice you to go back to it?
This does make me curious again about going back to Cyberpunk and trying it. But I look at it and say, I have so many other single player games that I want to finish before I jump into Cyberpunk that I'm not sure that it's going to make the list, maybe ever. I don't know.
I've heard, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I'd have to decide whether it goes above or below Starfield at this point. So where does it fit?
Oh, no.
And Starfield's already pretty far down the list. But I've heard really good things about, you know, the updates to the core game from other, you know, podcasts or gaming outlets that I listen to. I've heard excellent things about the story of Phantom Liberty and how it fills in kind of the gaps and the, you know, flushes out the whole thing of the, you know, the base game's story. It fits in really nicely. It kind of works really well. So I'm thinking that it will be put on the list. At this point, we're into like mid to late 2024. So anything that comes out in 2024 is either going to have to get pushed to the top of the list or backed up to 2025. So we'll see where it actually lands. But, you know, if you liked Cyberpunk 2077, and I mean, especially if you finish the game, right? If you liked it enough to finish the game, I have heard nothing but good things about the expansion.
I don't think that I am going to jump back into it based on just things that I keep thinking about. As you were talking, I was remembering Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, if you think of it that way. 2 of 3 is gotten a release date for February of next year. So 2024 is already full.
That's just going to be all of 2024
for single player games.
As I was talking, I just saw you typing more and more things in our show notes on like all of the things that are coming out or that we're planning on playing. And I think you're right. I mean, 2024 is basically already full because 2023 is almost done. And we still have, one more major game coming out?
More than one. There's Spider-Man 2 for the PS5, which is I'm going to play, you're not. There is the new Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which is like, you know, fine, it's a Mario game, whatever. It's a 2D side-scrolling Mario game. Super Mario RPG is coming out in November. And Assassin's Creed comes out soon.
Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I forgot about that one. And if you don't want to forget about it, in December, the Avatar game is coming out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm not going to play that.
I'm not sure I'm going to play, but it is going to dominate the news cycle for at least a week, I'm sure.
I'll be interested to see what the reviews look like on that one. I'm concerned that some of it are going to be like, hey, it's actually good. And then I'm going to have to like think about it.
I think that might be a perfect game to watch.
Fair point. I am not a game watching person, but that's fair. Speaking of games with expansions, Factorio is coming out with an expansion, which we talked about not too long ago. But I wanted to bring it up here just as a note saying that they've said that they are probably at least a year out or maybe up to a year. I forget exactly, but something in the time frame of a year. And they've started to do their weekly Friday Factorio Facts blog, like newsletter, whatever. So every Friday on the Factorio website, which is just factorio.com, they post a blog post about like designing a different system for the expansion or redesigning a different system from the base game. Like, for instance, this past week, they talked about the rail system in trains and redesigning the way that they handle all of the logic for doing diagonals and like shifting trains up and like a train track up and down two tiles. So if you're interested in game design and like the way that Factorio is made and also the kind of systems that they're considering, I would recommend it. It's a good read. And it also just builds a little bit of hype for the Factorio expansion, which I am way hyped for.
I always think like it's going to take a whole year, but isn't Factorio like one, maybe 3 people?
No, it's actually like they have maybe 10 people or 15. They have
a
few
year?
people.
They started on it like 2 years ago, didn't they?
Yeah, it's been a while. And they said that
it's based on a mod.
Yeah, they said that it's actually working and it's playable, and they've played through several like full end games, like end to end, and that it's fun. But now they're tuning, like, is it fun? Is it bug free? Is it like, all the little things? Does it have artwork? Because they can prototype a lot of gameplay stuff without art, I would imagine. And they're also, every time they post one of these blog post updates, they have a discussion thread on their forums. And so like they did a thing talking about quality. So they were talking about the quality of items in Factorio, and that's coming in the expansion, is going to be the idea of like you can have higher quality inserters that move faster than regular inserters, for instance, or like factories and stuff. And they said for the quality levels, they were going to call them like MMO names, like, uncommon, rare,
I bet people didn't like
legendary, exotic, or whatever they were going to do. It's kind of your MMO standard, like quality level stuff. And yeah, people hated it. They're like, come on, guys, like in the grand scheme of things, like Factorio is a different kind of game. It doesn't need to have all these fantasy words. Like, come on, get something good. Like, get like rusty and like whatever and shiny. I don't know what they would use, but they had like other qualifiers that would be more kind of nitty gritty, like Factorio kind of has that aesthetic.
Yeah. I'm usually not a stickler for that kind of stuff, but that seems like an obvious one to me.
Yeah, well, in the next week, they said, thank you all for your feedback. Like, names are the easiest thing to change, so we're definitely going to workshop that one.
Yeah, we have to change the language file.
Exactly. So that one's fine, but that's another point of like why they're doing this, and they're doing it like not really out in the open, but like kind of previewing these things piecemeal so that they can get the feedback and get it incorporated early enough. And they want to make sure they have a good thing when they release it.
Factorio did early access, didn't it?
It did do early access, but it doesn't do sales. That's their thing.
Right. Can you do early access for an expansion?
I don't know.
I don't think you can on Steam.
I don't think you can. But I mean, they could do it as a completely separate build if they wanted to.
They could, yeah.
But then I guess they'd have to sell it separately. I don't know how that would work, but yeah, it's interesting because that's similar to what you were talking about with Cyberpunk. They have engine, like base level engine things, and then they have expansion only kind of updates that they're kind of talking about them in the blog posts too. So highly recommend the Friday Factorio facts.
I want to take a couple minutes to talk about another game that let's see, how much can I say on this? So the other day I sent a screenshot to Chris and I said, I think I said nothing. I just sent you a screenshot.
Nothing. It was just a screenshot.
Yeah. I think I can, I'm pretty, I'm almost positive I can talk about it because it shows up on Discord and Steam, because it is a Steam like activated technical test of Throne and Liberty, which is a game that I'm pretty sure I put on my like most looking forward to in 2023 list.
I think you did
at the top of the year. At least an honorable mention, because it's an MMO created by NCSoft, who isn't the developer of, but does own ArenaNet, who develops Guild Wars 2. So big, convoluted kind of mess, but it all comes back to it's a game by a group of people that I generally enjoy playing other games that they are generally responsible for.
Wow, that's a lot of qualifiers.
I know. Anyway, I got I signed up for a while ago for the technical test or like beta or whatever, and I got invited to it. I'm distinctly not allowed to talk about like the content of that, but I am playing it. And I will just say very, high level, that I am enjoying it so far. And I plan to play more. So I guess, with this whole thing, one of the questions that I had about Throne and Liberty was, what kind of game is it? Like, what is the, like, all of the trailers and like stuff, we haven't really seen like true gameplay. Is there inventory management? Is there gear management? What kind of combat is it? And I'm really enjoying, again, I'm not going to talk about the content, but I'm really enjoying learning all of those things and like figuring out a brand new game. And it doesn't have a release date yet, but I am looking forward to when more details are announced on this game.
I am also looking forward to more details about this game and if it's any good, because you may have noticed that we're not really talking much about WoW anymore, and we don't really have an MMO that's like going strong right now, and that's a genre that is fun. So I would like to find a different kind of game that fits that kind of slot in the lineup, I guess I'll say. So if this one turns out to be good, then I will give it a try.
You do know that Eve celebration is going on right now, right?
I keep getting emails from Eve, and I keep deleting them without even looking at them. Because it's such a slippery slope. And if I thought that we could get a group of like 5 to 10 people together to play Eve, which I really don't think we could do, I would push it hard. But we can't. We don't know enough spreadsheet people for that.
Oh God! Every time I get an email from Eve, it is an addiction, man. It's like a drug. I want to go back so bad, but you're like, I can't. I've been Eve clean for like 4 years. I'm good.
Oh my gosh. Continuing in the theme of us not being a news podcast, but talking about news, I did want to take a couple of minutes to talk about the drama that has surrounded Unity, the game engine, in the past couple of weeks, because I don't know about you, but I have worked with Unity a little bit and like played a little bit with their editor. And I've also worked a little bit with Unreal and played with their editor. And it was interesting to watch as things played out over the last couple of weeks and see what it really did, I would say, to the industry. Because you've kind of got 2, maybe 3 choices of game engines at this point. If you're not going to like be a giant EA type person and roll your own, you've got Unity, you've got Unreal, and then I guess you've got Godot, spelled Godot, which is a open source, I don't know, smaller game engine, but looks pretty promising.
Yeah, I just for context, I have done coursework in college in Unity. I have never. I think I've used it professionally super lightly, just in like an exploratory kind of thing, but never, actually built a final product out of it. I've always wanted to. I've never touched the Unreal Engine. That's always been like a very big curiosity of mine that I've never really had the time to invest in. And then I know nothing about Godot.
Yeah, I don't know much about Godot, but Humble Bundle always has book bundles or like tutorial bundles about Godot every like couple weeks, it seems like now. So including one that happened during the week while Unity was kind of getting heat for this decision and post about stuff.
Yeah, what timing?
Humble was like, hey, here's how to learn Godot. And it's like, oh, there's probably some people that might want that knowledge right now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the big difference with Unity is that, to my understanding, it's the only one that allows you to write logic or program. This is for nerdy people out there in C#. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. So Unity uses C#, Unreal uses C++, and I don't know what Godot uses. I think they might have their own scripting language for the logic part. Okay.
And that, just if you don't know programming language, right? C# is a little bit higher level language, which just means it
it's friendlier.
It's friendlier. Yeah, it's friendlier to work with. It's C++ it gets a little bit lower on the memory management. It gets it requires a little bit more intricacies of how things work, which doesn't mean it's harder or worse or whatever. So in some cases, it's better because you have more control, more explicit control. But it's a different thing, and it's typically a little bit harder to learn because there are more pitfalls, more intricacies, things like that. So that was the power of Unity, and that's why it's easier to get into. It's more of a beginner friendly. I would correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but I think it's more beginner friendly, and that's kind of where the power of Unity is, right, and why it is used so widely.
Right. And the other thing it has going for it and had going for it is that it had a very good free tier. So they have a personal license where if you're working, as an indie, like individual person or whatever, you can get like just this engine and all of the tools for free. And Unreal does this now, but I believe when Unity started, they didn't do this. So like Unity had the free thing and Unreal, you had to pay a bunch of money. So that was where they came onto the scene and said, oh, look at us. We're better than, Unreal, who is owned by Epic Games, who is, makers of the Epic Game Store and all of that. See previous discussions.
Yeah, and Unreal's come a long way, but I remember it as the more expensive option. That's what I mean, when I think back to like college, right, and I was learning Unity, I remember Unreal as the the expensive one. They've come a long way too, don't get me wrong. Particularly with they're doing stuff now where you can build entire games like within, I think, what they're calling like the Fortnite creator. They're essentially building Roblox within Fortnite. So they're trying to, but this drama is centered around Unity because they decided to do something.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, they decided that they were going to change their fee structure and also change all of their licensing retroactively. So they said that you were going to have to pay a per install fee for games that you published with Unity that could be up to 20 cents per install, which turned into a massive firestorm on the internet and it was counting installs starting January 1st, 2024, I think was the original kind of rules of the license. And what that meant was if you had made a game with Unity, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, and you published it, and then January 1st, 2024 comes out, anybody who buys your game on Steam and say, if you were selling it for like a couple bucks or whatever, you would then have to give Unity 20 cents or, it was based on the volume of how many you sold, and it went down as you sold more copies and all this stuff. So I don't want to get into like the dollars and cents of it here, but the top line is it could get expensive for you for games that were cheap or free. You could end up owing lots of money to Unity just because you used their game engine and just because you'd made that choice several years ago before they made this change.
Yep. And 20 cents doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, we know people, you and I know people that have published games with Unity a long time ago, and theoretically could still be selling. And or the thing is, it's not just sales, right? It wasn't just sales, it was installs. So one of the things that they, kind of went back and forth on, and I don't know where they landed, but part of the drama was, well, what if someone had bought it forever ago and installed it on another computer? Because that's something we can do now. And they were like, yep, that counts as another install. Again, I don't know where they landed, but that's where the conversation started. And you can very quickly understand why that might be a problem.
Right. And there was a lot of concern about like free to play games or piracy. If somebody pirates your game and then installs it a million times and they're not paying you any money, but then you still owe Unity money, then what? And of course, they're saying, oh, we have advanced heuristics that we're not going to tell you about because they're proprietary, or we will do some magic number formula things and then tell you how much you owe us based on how many installs that we think that you had. And of course, all of this sounds very hand wavy and kind of a little bit concerning if you are the developer. And so obviously people were not happy.
One of my favorite things to come out of this, you hear about review bombing on Steam, right? Where, something happened, they added microtransactions to the game, or they changed the way that this thing costs, or they made the battle pass price so high and whatever. And they go review bomb. Something interesting to have come out of this was that they said because of the way that Unity had structured their plan, right, based on installs, that it made possible to install bomb a developer, right? Just install something over and over and over again by a bunch of people in the community to cost the developer a bunch of money. And obviously they were, we would fight that. We would deduct that from, what you owed us. But it opens up this avenue and questions, and people are like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. So the thing that really caught my eye, I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of not great, but I guess people will just, figure something out. But you started to see a lot of places, a lot of game studios start to put out statements and say, like, we were working on a project in Unity, but now we are switching our project, at great expense and release date delays. We are going to change our engine from Unity to something else, something with a more stable license, who is going to be more trustworthy of the relationship that you have when you make a choice, because this is a multi-year choice that these studios and developers and things are making. They're choosing, like, what's our engine going to be? Is it going to be Unreal? Is it going to be Unity? Like, is it going to be Godot? I guess, you're making these choices, and you assume that those license terms are going to like stick for the duration of the time that you're making your game. And this was something that was just really a breach in trust. So one of the ones that really stuck out to me was the developer of Slay the Spire, which I play a lot of. They made their first, like, one of those, those images that people tweet, that have like centered text that tell about their game delays. Like, they made their first one of those public statements ever, saying that they were working on something and that they were switching off of Unity and it was going to delay it. And they, at the end of it, they're like, we've never made a public statement before. You guys really messed up. And so I found that to be really kind of a shots fired moment.
I found it interesting. Yes, it was their first public kind of JPEG that they've ever posted. But
That's
also
right.
apparently it was the first formal acknowledgement that they were working on something else.
Oh,
So it was like no one knew that they were actually working on another game until Unity forced them to essentially say that they were building another game. So, something like that, I'm interested in. A lot has happened since it all started, and Unity is kind of, basically backtracked and changed it to something else. And people seem to be a little bit more happy with the new guidelines that they're putting forth in payment structure and whatnot. So a lot has changed. I'm interested in something, or I'm interested in someone like that. The developers of Slay the Spire. I don't know their name off the top of my head. Are they? What happens now? Did Unity destroy that trust enough for them to be like, no, we've already made the decision, we're moving on? Like you've already destroyed that trust? Or are they going to say, okay, well, thanks for backtracking, thanks for changing. We're gonna just continue down the Unity path now. Thanks.
I don't know what they're going to do. I did see several kind of interviews that said even if they walk this back, we're not going to trust them and we're still going to keep going to a different thing. That was before the walk back, which we'll talk about in just a second, which was pretty significant. Like it was a big about face. So I don't know if they changed anybody's mind, but I do know that when everybody was still angry, they definitely were saying, absolutely not. We're going to, switch this. But then I also saw a couple of posts on, I think it was Mastodon, where some people said like, oh, good, I didn't have to spend last weekend learning, investigating Unreal and Godot. So that implies that at least some people are going to go back to working on their game in Unity, which could be, you could be 95% of the way done with your Unity game when this came out. And then you said, well, I don't want to get, socked with all these fees. So I can't, the business model doesn't work for me. I guess I'm going to have to keep going for another year and port all this stuff over to Unreal. Where they ended up is a much, much more reasonable kind of a change, I would say, where they have a choice of either 2.5% of gross revenue or a fee that's based on something they're calling initial engagements, which is different than installs. So they're saying like if you buy this on Steam, you install it on your PC and your Steam Deck, it only counts once, which is how it always should have been. And it makes sense. And so then they have various fee structures based on how many initial engagements per month you have and all that stuff. But the key thing to know about that is that if you're on the personal tier, the free tier that's for individuals or, indies or whatever, that has no fees at all now, which is how it was before, but it's how it is again. And
it's no fees until you hit a certain revenue level, right?
I think so. It's up to, I don't know, $100 million, $1 million. I don't know. It's up to a lot of money until it starts to change.
Yeah, I think it's a little lower than that, but yes, it does. It's basically free until you're guaranteed to have started to make money.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they want to make sure that it's a partnership instead of a rent seeking thing.
Right. My biggest thing on this walk back, and I'm sure there are other changes. I like the top of the letter. Right, it's like the third line in the letter. I heard someone point this out, and I had to go look it up for myself. But apparently the blog post on unity.com, right, starts with blah, 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 blah. I'm so-and-so. I want to start with this. I am sorry. And someone pointed out that line is quite powerful. Because you very rarely, even when companies are walking something back, do they come right out and say, I'm sorry for what we decided before. So, again, back to that winning back over trust and what are developers going to do? Just claiming that they made a mistake and saying, we're sorry about it, that, we understand it was a mistake now. That says something.
It does. And I do think it's genuine. I am a little bit concerned that nobody saw this as a potential thing that needed a little bit more of a slow roll than they gave it, if this is what they had to do. And also it took them a week to kind of come back around, which is also kind of concerning. Like they announced this thing on a Thursday, and then it took them until like the following Thursday in order to come out with the statement that changed things, and it's like they could have at least.
I don't blame them on that, because they did release, we're going to be looking at this. We obviously, there's backlash, and we need to look at it. And a company can take. I mean, I think a week is reasonable for a company to reevaluate, and because remember, they have to balance a budget and figure out how are they going to make the money, how is it going to, where's it all going to compromise out to, and how do we protect the small guy while still making the revenue that's required to keep the company afloat? Because I think another quote that they said was, hey, these fees, we don't. They're foundational, right? They allow the engine to exist and continue to grow. And I get those points, but they have to do it in a way that is, like you said, a partnership with the people using their tool, because both companies, both the developers and the engine builder, need to thrive at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think they're on the right track here. I hope it's enough to kind of keep Unity going, because the competition between Unity and Unreal is healthy for the market overall. So I think it would be good if they can continue to be something that people are willing to try. I just hope they haven't burned too many bridges on this one.
Chris, are you holding a new iPhone?
I am holding a new iPhone 15 Pro.
Wow. Does it run games better than your desktop?
It doesn't. But I actually went to the App Store this morning because I was like, ooh, if I was, the App Store running people, I would probably have a, tile or a list or a something on the App Store that said great on iPhone 15 Pro with the super new ray tracing amazing chip. And they had nothing.
Yeah. I mean, my sass comes from the fact that they spent 8 minutes during their keynote on the amazing ray tracing gaming ability of the iPhone 15 Pro. And Apple is traditionally bad at they're traditionally bad at wanting to get into the AAA space, the AAA game space, and just failing at it over and over again. They've actually become, I think Apple Arcade has actually been very good and very powerful. But it's not, those aren't AAA games, right? Those are mobile games. Those are mini games. They have a space. They're good games. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're different kinds of games. But Apple, again, during their keynote, wanted, kind of touted their AAA gaming capabilities of their iPhone, particularly with the ray tracing ability of the iPhone 15 Pro. And, that gets a little bit of sass from me, because if I wanted to play a AAA game, I'm not going to play it on my iPhone.
Yeah, but I think that you and I are not the target market for this kind of thing, right? We are people that have a gaming PC and a PS5 and a phone and a, whatever. But if you were...
Who's the target audience then? Because people that want to play AAA games will have at least one system already to play it on.
True, but they won't necessarily have a Steam Deck. Or maybe they only have a Steam Deck. I don't know. But they won't necessarily have something that's portable. And the phone is portable, so it gives you a different kind of, avenue or form factor to play games in.
Okay. All right. I'll concede a little bit, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm also, we're transitioning a little bit here, but I am interested if the phone lasts more than 45 minutes playing one of these games without being plugged in.
It's a great question. I would love to have found a game that I could have tested that with, but I haven't yet kind of delved into that, and I refuse to install Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, which were two of the things that they showed in the keynote as, because of the power of the iPhone 15 Pro and the A17 Pro chip, we can do amazing things with, all of these gacha games. And it's like, I know they're good games, I know, but I just can't get involved. I don't want to get involved, so I did not go to the level of Genshin Impact.
Well, just wait until February, Chris, and you can play Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Yeah, that was a huge surprise, actually, when they said, and Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming, which I do have a little bit of a question of, is it the full Assassin's Creed Mirage, or is it Assassin's Creed Mirage Stories or whatever, where it's, 5 levels from the full game?
Based on what they said on stage, I'd be willing to bet it's the full Assassin's Creed Mirage. It's gotta be downgraded though. I think based on what I saw kind of they're going to show their best on stage, right? And you could tell some of the textures were downgraded and some of maybe there's not as many people on the streets kind of thing. Like it seemed pulled back the same way a company would, or a developer would pull back for a release on the Switch right now because the Switch needs a Switch too. But, I think it's the full game, and that was impressive. I got to give it to them. They surprised me with that announcement of Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, it's not coming right away. It's coming a little later after it comes out, whatever. But, it's supposed to be a fully installed game on your phone that you can play, AAA game, Assassin's Creed Mirage on your iPhone 15 Pro. And I got to say, I'm not going to do it, but I was impressed.
I would love to try it, and I hope that they kind of do something like they would for a mobile game. I think they did this for Civilization, Civ 6, where you can download the game for free and play like the first level just to get the feel for like the graphics and all that stuff, and then it's a DLC unlock to get the whole rest of the game. I think that would be good just to be able to basically have a tech demo of the game on your phone so you can try it.
If that's what they did, I would totally download that. Definitely.
What price would you be, I mean, maybe you're a bad person to ask, but what price would you be willing to pay for a console quality full on Assassin's Creed game on your phone and iPad, let's say? Like
I mean, I wouldn't be willing to pay it, but I'm going to guess that they're going to charge full price.
You think it's going to be a $70 app in the App Store?
Absolutely.
Ugh, that feels so high. Like it feels very, very high.
But it's the full game. Like assuming it's the full game, why wouldn't it be $70?
I mean, it's a fair question, and I think you're right, and I'm like sad because I think you're correct, but $70.
I mean, you pay full price games for your Steam Deck, and that's the argument you made like 3 minutes ago.
That's true. I did. I mean, I guess.
I mean, I wait for sales, obviously, but like I bought, what did I buy? The Lego Skywalker Saga. Like full, I mean, I didn't play full price for it, but it was a full price game that I bought on sale for my Steam Deck. I literally never installed it on my PC. Like it's the same argument.
It's true. I think I feel the lock-in more acutely when it's talking about something that's on the phone.
Yes.
Because that's really only on the phone and the iPad and maybe the Mac if they're nice. But
well, it should be that is I wanted to bring that up is if you bought Assassin's Creed Mirage on your phone, which is running, an A17 or 18 or whatever number they're on now, your M1 or M2 Mac theoretically should be able to run it good enough to get it to play. And if you purchase a $70 game in the Apple ecosystem, you should be able to play it on any device that could remotely play it.
Sure, but it's not going to translate to my Windows PC on Steam.
No, it is most certainly not.
And that I think is the thing that I take the most issue with.
Well, and I think that's the piece that Apple keeps missing is that the gaming industry right now is not about platform. It's about storefront, right? It's Steam versus Epic versus Microsoft, who is losing, versus Ubisoft, who has not decided yet whether they want their own store or to be on Steam. Like it's not about platform. Like people want to buy something once and play it anywhere, right? The Xbox Game Pass, right? You subscribe, you can play it on your Xbox, you can play it on your PC. The Ubisoft subscription or EA Play, you subscribe it on one place and you can play it on any platform. It's less and less about platform and more about storefront and access. And I think Apple is missing that point. I want to see them say, if you own this game on Steam, you can play it on your phone. And they're going to have to make an agreement with Ubisoft somehow, maybe lose a little bit of money for a little bit of, pay some licensing cost or whatever to get those, cross kind of functional. But say, if you own Assassin's Creed over there, you can play it on your phone. And, it's just Apple's way of getting into the market.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to turn into something where you have to log in with your Ubi account or Uplay or whatever they're calling it these days on your phone in order to play the game, like unlock the full game. And then that lets you do the same on other storefronts.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting because Uplay or Ubisoft has their like $15 a month EA Play equivalent. And that will include Assassin's Creed on launch day, or Assassin's Creed Mirage on launch day. So I wonder, I mean, that would $15 to try it. That's getting a little bit more enticing.
I would probably do that. But then I'd have to get a controller for my phone, and that's going to be another device that I need.
I mean, you could pair your just to try it. You could pair your PlayStation or something.
Yeah, actually, I do have Bluetooth PlayStation and Xbox controllers that I could pair to my phone and try.
Just to try, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that.
Anyway, I don't have a 15 Pro, and ray tracing is not enticing me to get one any sooner. I would love an update from you if you ever get the chance to actually see ray tracing on your phone. But I'm not hopeful that it is a jaw-dropping feature.
I'll let you know if I can find anything that I'm willing to download that uses ray tracing. Time marches on, and with it comes another Sea of Thieves update. The Sea of Thieves people have announced a Season 10 preview, which is coming out in, I don't know, a couple of weeks, I think like middle of October, which makes sense because Season 9 has been running the entire summer. They actually extended it, I think, twice. So it's been running for like 4 or 5 months at this point. So I'm excited to see new Sea of Thieves content. And this one actually looks like it's going to have some good like fundamental systems for the main game.
Wait, I need some clarification. Did Sea of Thieves do an announcement for an announcement?
No, they did an announcement for a coming patch.
Okay. Because you said they announced the Season 10 preview, which to me meant they announced an announcement, but you're saying they released a preview of Season 10.
Yes, sorry. Yes, they released a blog post that is a preview of Season 10 and a YouTube video.
Okay. So what's coming?
So they said that these updates will be released over the course of several months, which is concerning, ensuring that each one has ample time in the spotlight and the season remains compelling from start to finish. I don't know about that. I'd rather all this stuff just came out, but whatever. The first thing that they announced was guilds. So they have guilds they will have guilds in Sea of Thieves now with up to 24 players in a single guild.
Okay.
You can sail on your friends' pledged ships when you're offline, which I don't really know what that means. So if I'm offline and you're in my guild, you could use my ship, I guess, to get like guild points or credit or something, to increase shared reputation for the guild.
Oh, okay. Because ships don't have any stats or anything, right? They
do.
Never did that.
No, they totally do. So if you have a captained ship, which means you get to name it and you get to, you're the captain, you can do captain voyages of it and stuff. You can save the layout of it to the ship. So that it always comes with that customization and it has a custom name and all that good stuff. You can do all that stuff and it keeps stats. So it'll say like your ship name has just passed a milestone for a number of days at sea.
I guess I mean functional stats. There's no reason, there's no functional reason for me to captain your ship instead of mine.
There's no experience points for the ship. It's just kind of statistics, not power.
I don't truly get that. I mean, other than maybe cosmetics and name and all of that. But okay, fine, cool. I guess that's a cool little cosmetic feature.
As we've talked before, all of the rewards in Sea of Thieves are cosmetic. Like everything you do in that game is just for the hats. But that's okay. It's great. The hats are shiny. They're very nice. Entire
game industries have been built on that. I get it.
Exactly. So this is something that I'm not sure if I'm going to use. I don't know if I know enough people. I know one reliable friend that plays Sea of Thieves. I mean, I'll invite you to my guild if you want, but I'm sure it'll just be for show, basically. So
I don't know. 24 slots. Spots are limited.
That's true. I'm going to have to start auditions. But I don't know. It's just... it's cool, I guess. It's a cool idea. And maybe if you could get a guild of people, maybe there's going to be a way to meet up on Reddit or something, or find a group of people that are kind of like-minded, or maybe it'll center around a streamer or something. That'd be kind of cool. Just to have a group of people that you knew would be in the same level of commitment and the same level of friendliness that you have. I think that would be kind of cool. So that's one thing. I don't know. That's fine. The other thing that I, of course, was very excited about, that I know that my friends who play Sea of Thieves were much less excited about, is that they are adding an option for private instances, I guess you'd say. Basically opt out of PvP Sea of Thieves with a thing that they're calling Safer Seas.
So is this turning PvP off, but you can still see other players, or you won't even see other players?
This is like a private server. This is like only people you invite are going to be in this instance, is what I can tell, at least from the 3 sentences we get on here.
I guess that's good. I mean, that changes some of the fundamentals of the game.
It really does. It really does.
But I can see why people want it.
Yeah, it's really something for me that comes from, I think I would mostly play on normal Sea of Thieves mode, especially because they have announced that it will have reduced rewards in the solo thing, in the Safer Seas thing.
Okay.
So they said that it'll be a little bit less, you won't be able to get the full breadth of all of their offerings while you're doing this Safer Seas thing. So like some of the more competitive stuff, like I'm assuming like the chest that you get that like marks you on the map, that will get different, it'll get removed from the solo option, because it doesn't really make sense, right? If you pick up the treasure chest that marks you for all the people, like there's no other people to mark you for. So there's no point to that kind of stuff. But I could also see if you were like, oh man, I really want to, I don't know, like get all the fish, or I really want to, go visit every island, or something, like an achievement hunting kind of a thing that gets annoying if you get disrupted. I could see saying like, I'm just going to laser focus in on this one thing that I want to be able to do, and do it in a private server so that I don't get interrupted.
Yeah, I can see that. The other thing I'll say about Sea of Thieves is it has changed a lot since it has come out. In terms of there used to not be as much PvE content.
That's true. Yes.
A lot of the game used to be around the interactions with other players, right? That was, I mean, at the beginning when it was, I don't know if it was ever early access, but right at the beginning, that was basically the only interaction there was. And so much so they built PvP arenas out of it. And I think those are gone now, or at least not supported anymore. So, the game has shifted over time to be more of a PvE experience with kind of that sprinkle of PvP to add, tension to the game. But as you inch further and further towards a PvE experience, to your point, exactly, there are some times where you just want to say, listen, I don't want to play the game. I just want to go pick up all the coins.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So I'm really excited about this. I think it would be awesome if they had some mechanism where you could switch between this mode, like sail through a portal or something and switch it with the same ship and crew, just to make it easy to switch. Because they already do this for a lot of their like new story instance content. Like they've been working through Monkey Island themed episodes where they've got 3 of these episodes that are coming out. And when you do those, you are in a private instance, like you are in your own thing. There are no other ships with you, no other players. And you're
most
just
of the Pirates of the
story.
Caribbean was like that too, right?
Same thing. Yep. So there's certain things. I mean, there's also like these other, like the missions where you have to swim underneath the water and leave your ship on the surface that are a little bit nerve wracking for no reason. Like you're essentially defenseless. And if somebody sees your ship just like anchored at the top of this portal, like they could take cheap shots and kind of sink you in cold blood, which is no fun. Like, that's not the point of PvP. Like you don't have a fighting chance if you're not at your ship when somebody attacks it. So it's not, if you could do those kinds of things while knowing that you were safe, that would be a major step up. So we'll see what the reduced rewards are, or what the reduced like scope is when you're playing solo. But if it's not too bad, then I think it will have its uses.
I want to go back a second. I am a little concerned about the release schedule. Has there been any like acknowledgement of it to say it's slower? We know it's slower, or it's intentionally slower, but there's more content, or is this them slowly transitioning Sea of Thieves to maintenance mode? Like what's going on?
No, I mean, the seasons concept is like, this is season 10 that's coming up. Like seasons have actually only been going on for, I want to say 2 years now. I don't think this is like a dead game kind of a thing. I mean, adding guilds to it says that they're interested in continuing. I think the bigger piece is they're trying to make sure that they have continuing content, like always something new every month or every couple weeks or something. So they're rolling things out on a little bit slower roll, which I think is fine if they want to, as long as I would love it if they would publish a schedule, like tell me that it's going to be every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks or whatever. And if they would stop doing the thing that they were doing with Tall Tales for a while, which is putting story content out there, letting it be available for like 3 weeks, and then just like sending it to the Sea of Thieves vault, and you can never see that content ever again.
What a terrible way to do story.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird choice, and I don't know that they are over it. I think they might still be trying to do some of that, but I think we've been in the middle of a particular story for a long time, but I can't tell because I can't go back and replay where I was, so I don't actually know what the last thing that we left off was. I mean, I could look it up on YouTube, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Guild Wars 2 learned their lesson a long time ago. Don't do that.
Yeah, people don't like it when you like take away their story content, and it doesn't make any sense because you put effort into making it, so why not make it available to players?
Yeah, I totally get vaulting cosmetics, right? You can only earn them during, say the achievements. You can only get like the top level cosmetic of the achievement for that Tall Tale while it's going on, right?
Sure.
It's a cosmetic.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's bragging rights, but don't take the story away.
Right. I mean, you've got voice acting, you've got like, game programming, you've got cutscene type things. Like, just keep all that stuff in there. Like, you worked hard for it. We all want to see it. Just because I was on vacation for a couple weeks and missed it doesn't mean I should never get a chance to see it in the game engine.
Yeah, I agree.
So hopefully they've learned their lesson. I don't really know. But Sea of Thieves still getting updates. I think it is still a thriving game, I hope.
I've got a perfect transition. Are you ready, Chris?
I am ready.
If you would like to play the thriving game that is Sea of Thieves and apply to Chris's guild.
That's right.
Only 24 slots are available. You're going to get auditioned on those cannons. You're going to see how fast you can bail out water.
Raise the anchor.
You can get in contact with Chris and schedule your audition today by going to discord.pnapodcast.com.
If we have enough interest, maybe I'll get the domain pnapirates.com. Anyway, if you want to read our show notes or find any of our older episodes, you can visit our real website, which is pnapodcast.com. That's P, the letter N, the letter A, podcast.com.
If you're enjoying the show, we would love if you could share it with some others that might enjoy it as well.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
PNA Pirates.
Yeah, I actually now really want to do this.
Oh, God.
This is dangerous. You know what game we are playing, though, soon? And I just want to tease this for the listeners. We think we're playing. No
I haven't purchased
promises.
it yet. Have you purchased it yet?
I have not purchased it yet either, but
I'm really hoping it goes on sale.
I'm actually also really hoping it goes on sale in the next 3 weeks before we start playing it. Although I have definitely been tempted to buy it and play it single player, but I have so much on my plate, I should not do that. Anyway, we are going to try to play Baldur's Gate 3 with some friends, with a full four stack group of people, and try to play Baldur's Gate.
We have set up a raid night.
Specifically,
or a dice rolling night, or a D&D night, whatever you want to call it. We have set up a night after. We could just tell everyone after Ahsoka is over, replacing that TV show slot is going to be Baldur's Gate 3. So, a couple weeks out.
Yes, but very excited. We should probably figure out how to do character creation ahead of time so we don't all sit there for the first 4 hours just making characters. I know it won't be a problem for you, but some people, we may need some.
Well, help. I've heard notes on should we be creating character? Should we just be creating a ragtag group of 4 people, or should we be creating 4 complementary characters? And my opinion is that we should just create 4 characters independently, as if they met on this journey. Oh
wow, you're already getting into the role playing spirit here.
Yeah. I mean, why metagame it? We should just create characters that we want.
All right. Sounds good.